Bene, buon pomeriggio, ben trovati. Good afternoon. Today we are going to make a short round trip around Italy, meeting one of our best important areas of wine. We have some producers that can talk about their wines here with us, and they want to share their experience with you, of course. And of course, we will start with a sparkling wine, as we usually do during a dinner, for example. And we are starting from a territory in the north of Italy. We are in Lombardy, exactly in the area of Oltre Pavese. Po is the most important river of Lombardy. And this area is in the south of the region, along the border with Liguria. And it's a special kind of area, because we comes from a flat area, but here everything's changed, because there is a flat area, of course, but this is an area full of hills and mountains, and the sea breeze that enter from the Liguria arrive inside the vineyard, so it's a territory between the mountain and the sea. And grape that find home here, there are different grapes in this area, but the two most important grapes are Pinot Noir and Riesling, that gives amazing results in this area. Pinot Noir, particularly in this area, is dedicated to classic method, so it's dedicated to the production of sparkling wine. And the winery that we are going to meet is called Il Poggiolo. We are in the heart of the Oltre Pavese, and I think we have here the producer. Am I right? Come here, please. Nice to meet you, welcome. Tell us something about your winery, your project, your history.
Posso parlare italiano, è meglio? O...
Se vuoi in inglese traduco io, se no...
Ok, io parlerei in italiano per essere più chiaro e poter esprimere tutti i concetti. Allora, la nostra è un'azienda vitivinicola nel cuore appunto dell'Oltre Pavese, comune di Montubeccaria. Abbiamo 25 ettari in un corpo unico con esposizione sud-sud-est. Ah beh, giusto.
A small winery in the heart of Oltre Pavese, 25 hectares divided around the most important part, that is the winery itself, between 200 and 300 meters above the sea level.
Allora, il nostro obiettivo è quello di cercare di esprimere nel miglior modo possibile al 100% le peculiarità del nostro territorio, dove il Pino Nero la fa da padrona, quindi abbiamo le caratteristiche pedoclimatiche e il terroir idoneo alla produzione di Pino Nero in tutte le sue sfaccettature, partire dalla bollicina, quindi metodo classico in bianco e in rosato, ma anche nella vinificazione in rosso. E questo appunto ci ha permesso con gli anni di andare a realizzare cuvée diverse, andare a utilizzare cloni e cultivar diverse per poter andare a ottenere un prodotto più peculiare possibile, più complesso e che possa anche avere un'ottima longevità nel tempo e possa comunque negli anni potersi esprimere nel migliore dei modi.
Okay, the mission of the winery is to exalt the characteristic of the territory, and to do this, the best interpreter that they can use is Pinot Noir, of course, because here Pinot Noir can have different faces. They use Pinot Noir to do sparkling wine, white sparkling wine, and rosé sparkling wine, still wine to drink young or to age, for example, and here the Pinot Noir can express perfectly what the territory, the words of the territory.
And anything else have a good tasting?
You understand this one. Okay, about Pinot Noir, we are talking about one of the most important French grape, and the Pinot Noir is the father, the spiritual and DNA father of different grape that we have around the world. Every Pinot come from Pinot Noir. He was the first of all that. And it's a difficult grape because Pinot Noir loves the light but doesn't like the heat. Too much heat, it's a problem. And the bunch is really, every berry is close to another. So with Pinot Noir you can have some problem with mold. And the wind is something necessary inside the vineyard to work with a grape like this. And in Italy we have Pinot Noir like in Oltrepo Pavese, not just in Oltrepo Pavese, Alto Adige to the north on the mountain. It's one of the best places to cultivate this grape. But of course Pinot Noir have a capacity to change itself and its characteristic depending from the territory. So if you will drink a Pinot Noir from Alto Adige or a Pinot Noir from Oltrepo Pavese, you will drink two totally different wines, and that's what makes so interesting a grape like this. So the first wine that we are going to test is a pure Pinot Noir, Metodo Classico, classic method, and 24 months on lees after the second fermentation. And looking at this color, you see a pale, bright yellow colors and these small bubbles that tell us the story of a long rest on yeast, of course. The nose is clear and sparkling, I can say, exactly as we see the color of this wine. There is this first hint that remember us the sea breeze that enter in the vineyard. So this mineral part, this salty part. Then a fruity part arrive, telling us the story of an orange peel or some lemon skin, for example. And then arrive this elegant floral part, and a small berry comes to our nose delicately, but with a lot of lights inside. Have a sip. The bubbles in the mouth give us like a creamy sensation. It's a smooth, sparkling wine. The glycerin, we can perceive the glycerin inside the glass, inside the mouth, but the bubbles have this capacity to perfectly clean the palate. And then at the end arrive this beautiful part of acidity that brings our mouth perfectly clean. And imagine this wine on the table during a dinner, we can imagine different pairing. Of course, it's a beautiful wine to pair with fish, but here you need a fat fish, like, for example, a salmon or a shellfish, something that leaves you like a greasy sensation in the mouth, and the bubble will clean perfectly it. So it's a beautiful way to start a dinner. And thank you very much to Poggiolo for this opportunity. And going on, the second wine that we are going to test is really interesting because the second wine, it's a sparkling wine, classic method, Pinot Noir. So we can imagine two wines that are really close. But the fact is that in this case, Pinot Noir comes from another territory. We move to the north, we go in Piedmont, one of our most important wine regions. And here there is an area called Langhe, maybe one of the most famous area that we have in Italy. Barolo comes from this area, and Barbaresco comes from this area. But here, in this case, we are in a special part of Langhe because we are in the highest part. For this reason, it's called Alta Langa. Alta means high. Here, the climate is completely different from the downside part because it's cold. It's cold nowadays too. We were talking about this morning about the climate changing, how the climate changing is affecting the region of the north. The fact is that in Alta Langa the climate change, but not so much because it's a cold area with high altitude, where Pinot Noir can express its acidity and its dry part in the best manner. And the producers that we have here today is called Matteo Fenoglio, and he comes from Altalanga. It's an Altalanga doc himself. Matteo, please come here. Join me. And he started to study, you were a chemist, hai studiato chimica, vero? Hai studiato chimica. He was a chemist, then he started to work he do a lot of works, but then he felt the necessity to come back home and start to work on the lands that his grandfather gives to him. So Matteo, please tell us about your story.
Sì, grazie. Good morning, everyone. It's a great emotion and an honor for me to taste my wine with us and with yours. Sorry, I don't speak English very well, but I try to speak. And I'm a little producer of sparkling wine. It's a classic method, an artisanal method in all parts. I don't have machine for produce it. The remouage with the hand and the gorge with the hand, put the cork with the hand, all make an artisanal product. And the color is a natural color and different for every years are different, and the color change years. This is 2019. And 2016 was clear, okay, yellow. And this is little rose. And I don't arrive, my family don't produce wine, my grandfather, my father, I don't make wine. I don't know. From 10 years ago, I don't know how is do a small plants of wines. But I buy it, I plant, and after 3 years, I arrive the first harvest, and I try to produce, and I work for make a natural classic method. And in 2022, this wine take an award, then top 100 wine in Italy. And nothing. Sorry for my English. I don't speak very well, but I hope you like it. And I'm happy because these bottles are the last 12 bottles I have fino a giugno 2024. Okay, and thanks. Sorry, thank you. 3 years in the bottle. 3 years, but if you need more years, I can. Yes, it's not a problem. But in 3 years, it's okay. And 3 months for ask 3-4 months after the gorge for ask the new production. I'm not here to sell nothing because in June 2024 I'm sold out, but I take the order for next year. Ok? Spero. Grazie Sara, grazie a tutti.
Thank you. So Matteo started his adventure 10 years ago without knowing nothing about viticulture, because he comes from a family who have another typical cultivation of Piedmont that are nuts. So he take a small plot, plant some vineyard, and see what happens. And he's lucky because his territory is a good one. So the results are incredible inside the bottle. And the wine that we are going to test, it's a Pinot Noir 97%, and there is this 3%, this small part of Muscat d'Hamburg. This is a typical variety, but a small variety that it's common just in some area of Piedmont. And the color that you see in the glass, we can be confused because we can think that this is a rosé wine. Well, it's not exactly a rosé because there's no maceration on skin. Everything happened during the pressing. The Pinot Noir leaves this color, and this color we will totally change. Every year you will find a different color in the glass. Pink in the first year, then it becomes like gold, and then comes back some pink. So it's beautiful to open this bottle here per year to see what happened to the color. And here too, exactly like the first sparkling wine that we test, the bubbles are really tiny. 36 months on the lease, the time that the bubbles can swim inside the wine and take its place inside the wine. The nose talk about the strongest part of the Pinot Noir, the small berry, the blueberry, and the strawberry too. Then you can find this chalky sensation, this mineral chalky sensation, really different from the minerality of the first wine that told us about the sea. Here's the minerality told us about the mountains. So are two interpretations really different of this grape. This beautiful flower part, some wisteria appear inside the glass. And then this bread sensation, like a crusty bread, like a croissant. Have a sip. The wine has a good structure, of course, but in the mouth we can perfectly perceive the cold climate of this area, because the acidity lead the sip from the beginning to the end. This acidity that brings in our mouth this fruity sensation, but the fruit is not ripe. This strawberry sensation, but a small strawberry. At the end, the flowers part come back and close with this beautiful hint of saltiness. Here too, to pair this wine, you can really enjoy, for example, with a typical Italian risotto. Something greasy with some butter, why not? Risotto maybe with some fish, or why not is a wine that we can imagine to pair with some white meat, some chicken, for example. Could be a beautiful pairing. It's really interesting for me share with you two Pinot Noir, two sparkling wine, two classic method from two different areas, and we have in the glass really two different wines, and we just start our trip around Italy, of course. Because the next territory that we are going to discover, we come back in Lombardy, but not in the south like Oltre Poppavese, but we are going to discover another special territory, because we are in the area of Lugana. Lugana, it's a special area because we are near a lake, so everything changed. Oltre Poppavese is influenced by the sea. Lugana, it's influenced by the lake, the Garda Lake, a big lake. In fact, Lugana is a DOC common into regions, Lombardy and Veneto. That the common stretch is Garda Lake. And here the winery Le Morette produce a beautiful Lugana called Mandolara. In this area, why the lake changed the situation? Imagine that we are inside a flat area. But near the lake, some sweet hills appears. But what really changed the lake is the climate. We are in an area with continental climate, with really hot summer and really cold winter. But here there is like a Mediterranean area. It's the only part of Lombardy where olive oils can be produced, or where orange born in this area. Around in the flat area you can find olive trees or orange trees because it's too cold, of course. So everything changed around this lake. And talking about Le Morette, the family Zenato is an ancient family. Ce l'abbiamo. Perfect. So I let the word to Le Morette. We have a connection.
Everybody,
am I right?
do you hear me?
Ciao.
Ciao. I'm Valentina, and I'm the Expo Manager of Le Morette Winery, and to me it's a pleasure to introduce the winery. And you were right about the territory, since we are the most northern Mediterranean climate in Italy because of the lake. Garda Lake is the biggest lake in Italy, and so we have, of course, Mediterranean climate all around, and a specific type of soil which is rich in this white clay, which is the secret to get the tanginess and this very high acidity in our white wine. So I want to talk about the family first. So we are in an historical winery in the heart of Lugano. We are in the Veneto side, because you know that Lugano is the DOC in between two different regions. So we are in the Veneto side, in the province of Verona, in Peschiera del Garda. And we are one of the we can say most historical wineries. Since 1960, we've been producing Turbiana and Lugana DOC wines. Now the family business is run by Paolo Zenato and Fabio Zenato. Fabio Zenato is the executive director, and Paolo Zenato is the winemaker. We are now exporting in 65 countries already, so a lot. And we started more or less with 10 hectares in the heart of Lugana, and now we have 50 hectares. Turbiana based. Turbiana is the queen of the territory of Lugana. So the traits of these white grapes are, as I told you, very high acidity and very high minerality. You can find out also by the glass. Since 1960, we've been following sustainable agriculture, and since we've always been also vine nurses. So we are wine producers and also vine nurses. So we produce the baby vine. So what does it mean to be sustainable for us? So we don't have any chemicals, so we are deeply, we really trust in no insecticides and no herbicides, drip irrigation. So all of these activities is important for us to have biodiversity friend type of wine. Okay? So now we're gonna have Lugana Mandolara for the tasting today. Lugana Mandolara is our flagship wine. So it's our most important and most representative wine. It is an 100% Turbiana, totally unoaked. So we don't have any oak, so just still tanks fermentation and still tanks maturation. Maturation for more or less 3 months. Coming back to the harvest, we do the harvest for Mandolara in more or less the second week of September, depending on of course, the vintage. Then we do the fermentation in steel tanks, and then after 3 months of lees steering, which is very important to get this extra tanginess this long-lasting minerality you can find out by the glass and swallowing the wine. So the nose is very high in citrusy notes, and you can find out some green apple, and the palate is rich in minerality. And the name Mandolara is also recalling the treat of this wine, since mandorla in Italian means almond. So you can find, by the way, this kind of almondy aftertaste when you swallow, which is actually typical of Turbiana when it is an oak. The vintage is a 2022, and we have more or less 12.5 ABV alcohol content.
Thank you very much for this beautiful introduction. We are going to test your wine, and I think that the sensation that we find in the glass are exactly the sensation that Francesca tells us, because the first hint is this citrus peeling inside the glass, and then this beautiful sensation of tea, like a peach tea on the nose that makes it more smooth. Have you sipped it? Okay, I'm arriving. The sip have a perfect balance between the glycerin part, the smoothness, and the acidity. But what brings this sip to the end is the saltiness that we can find at the end of the sip, and this almond sensation that leaves our mouth really clean. And it's beautiful to imagine a wine like this on the table, because you can play with the balance that we find here. It's a wine that you can pair with a first course or with a strong fish, or maybe with a white meat. It's ductile, if you imagine. Where is it? Where is she? How do you pair this wine?
So this wine is so versatile to me. So it's very easy to pair with food and very easy to pair from appetizers. So Italian appetizers are all good. I mean, as a main course, I imagine different type of risotto, risotto with asparagus, also seafood and lake fish. This is actually our main pairing here in Garda Lake. We have a lot of lake fish.
Yeah.
So we are playing every time with different pairings, and Mandolara is working properly with the different pairings. Also tempura with this type of fish, or spaghetti with seafoods as well. So
you can enjoy this wine for everything, for everyday lunch or for a special occasion. You can use in both situations.
Yeah, in both occasions. So it's a very easy wine, and at the same time could be also interesting with more complex type of dishes. So it's not only just a simple wine, but it's also nice to have a pairing with some white meats or rabbit, or so also main course like this.
Well, thank you very much to share the testing with us. It was a pleasure to talk with you.
Thank you so much for your time, and it's very interesting what you're saying. So it's a very nice path, just crossing around Italy. So it's very nice to
So we will join us to this round trip. Thank you.
Yeah, please.
Ciao.
Thank you again.
Ciao.
Grazie.
Well, two sparkling, one white. Where we are going now? Let's see. We stay in the north of Italy, and we are going in Friuli Venezia Giulia, in the area of the Colli Friulani, of the hills of Friuli. This is a very lucky area because it has everything that should be needed to produce good wines. Here there are the Alps, the high like mountains, the Alps that protect the area from the cold wind coming from the north. But at the same time, we are near the sea, so the breeze of the sea enter inside the vineyard. It's like an amphitheater with a beautiful explosion, southeast, southwest, so a lot of lights every day, and here rain every year when you need rain. So it's a beautiful place to plant a vine, of course. And the winery that we are going to meet is called Agricola Tonutti, and I think we have a connection, am I right? Hi, nice to meet you.
Buongiorno, buongiorno a tutti.
Ciao.
Ciao, io mi scuso per non essere presente lì in diretta, però purtroppo siamo in lavoro, siamo in campagna e siamo anche in cantina, visto il tempo di vendemmia.
Ok, dammi giusto il tempo di tradurre.
Okay.
I'm sorry if I'm not here with you today, but we have some works to do in the vineyard and in the cellar too, so I can't leave the winery today.
Bene, oggi siamo qui a presentarci e ad assaggiare il nostro vino che è il Friulano. Noi siamo una piccola azienda di 7 ettari nel cuore, diciamo, della pianura friulana.
Okay, we are a small winery, 7 hectares inside the heart of the flat part of Friuli, and we are here to introduce you our Friulano wine.
Ecco, il nostro lavoro è principalmente la coltivazione dei vigneti, la produzione del vino e l'ospitalità, quindi vino e agriturismo.
We produce wine, we work in the vineyard, and we have the possibility of host the people who comes here. Do you produce just wine? No, am I right? Voi non producete solo vino, giusto?
Sì, principalmente sì, facciamo anche seminativi, ma diciamo il settore principale è la viticoltura. Diciamo che produciamo diverse varietà, però la cosa più importante su cui stiamo puntando sono i vini autoctoni, e il Friulano è il principe dei vini bianchi friulani.
Okay,
quindi,
we have different grape varieties in our vineyards, but we carry the most the autochthonous grapes, and Friulano is the king of this area.
Ok, parliamo di Friulano. Il nostro Friulano è un vino classico, è un vino bianco fermo ed è prodotto con le uve Tokai Friulano.
Okay, our wine, the wine that we are present today, it's a Friulano made just with Friulano grape, a simple white wine, a classic white wine, solo acciaio, giusto?
Sì.
Produced just in still.
Yes. La particolarità del nostro Friulano è nella selezione e nella supermaturazione delle uve e nel sistema di vinificazione.
Okay, the secret that we have behind our bottle is that we let the grapes overripe a little, and to bring the perfect bunches, the perfect ripeness bunches inside the cellar.
L'obiettivo che ci siamo posti è quello di creare un vino che sia buono, ottimo, di alta qualità, ma che sia facile da bere un po' per tutti, e quindi che non sia sofisticato, ma che riesca a tirar fuori la semplicità dalla natura, dall'uva. Quindi i gusti più diretti che vogliamo portare dal vigneto alla bottiglia.
Okay, our goal is to bring inside the glass a quality wine, a high quality wine, but an easy wine to drink, a drinkable wine, a wine that we can use every day, and a wine that talk about our territory.
Okay. La vinificazione è abbastanza semplice, però la particolarità è data dal fatto che questo Friulano è un blend tra due vini della stessa uva.
Tra due vini?
Ossia, diciamo, una parte viene macerata in prefermentazione per una decina di ore, mentre la seconda parte viene vinificata in bianco, quindi pressata direttamente. Poi vengono fatte due fermentazioni separate e successivamente il vino viene unito secondo le mie, diciamo, le mie sensazioni gustative,
Okay.
per creare, diciamo, un vino completo.
Okay, we work just with Friulano grape, but we do like two different wine, starting with Friulano. A part of the mass have a short maceration on skin, 10 hours of maceration of skin. Other part of the mass have a simple white production without touching the skins. Then the fermentation happens separately, and at the end, when we have two wines, they are going to blend it every year in a different manner, depending from the taste and from the years, of course, from the vintage.
Ok.
Okay.
L'assemblaggio viene fatto praticamente un anno dopo la raccolta. E infatti entrambi i vini rimangono sui lieviti in affinamento praticamente per 11 mesi e in agosto viene fatta l'imbottigliamento del vino.
Okay,
ecco,
the blend
quindi,
is made 1 hour after the harvest, because we produce two different wine and then leaves those wines on the yeast for about a year, and then we blend it.
ecco, il fatto di rimanere un anno sui lieviti comporta un effetto di antiossidante naturale che praticamente poi cederà questa capacità antiossidante al vino, che si manterrà più a lungo nel tempo e avrà bisogno di molta poca solforosa per il mantenimento in bottiglia negli anni.
Okay, this year on yeast is like an antioxidant for wine. So when we have to bottle the wine, thanks to this long period on yeast, we are able to add just a small part of sulfites.
Yes.
Possiamo assaggiarlo?
Come?
Possiamo assaggiarlo intanto? Can we
Certo.
taste it? Okay, thank
Yeah.
you. Ok, go on the glass. Go on, please. Vai, dici.
Ecco, volevo dire, al gusto questo vino avrà delle sensazioni anche dolci, però anche una nota amara. Il friulano è caratteristico, mi riferisco anche alla ragazza, alla mia collega che parlava prima di mandorla. Il friulano ha una caratteristica gusto di mandorla leggera. In questo caso però si sente anche una nota quasi dolce sul friulano. Ci tengo a dire che tutti i nostri vini sono a 0 zuccheri residui, quindi la sensazione rotonda e dolce è data solo dalla maturazione del vino e delle uve.
Ok, cominciamo dal naso, noi da qui poi arriviamo alla parte dell'assaggio.
Sì.
Non so, I don't know if you push your nose inside the glass, you can find the freshness of Friulano grape. This vegetable sensation, there are a lot of herbs like rosemary and thyme and this hint of mint, but the surprise is when you taste it, because Tonuti was telling us the first sensation that you can have when you drink this wine, it's like a sweet sensation. There's no sugar. The sweet sensation is given by the glycerin and the alcohol, of course. But at the end of the zip, exactly as we find inside Turbiana, the Mandolara, there is this beautiful bitterness sensation that remember us the almond, the sensation of the milk of the almond, of course. Come lo abbinate questo vino? How do you pair this wine?
Nel nostro territorio ci sono due cose importanti da abbinare. Uno è il prosciutto crudo di San Daniele, e l'altro è il risotto con gli asparagi, quindi asparago e friulano, o San Daniele, prosciutto crudo e friulano.
Okay, the two typical pairing that in Friuli do with this wine are with San Daniele ham, a typical production of this area, and with risotto with asparagus, because here there is the green part of the asparagus that married perfectly the green part of Friulano, of course, but the fattiness of the risotto, the add of the butter inside risotto, helps the freshness of Friulano to give us a beautiful sensation of clean mouth. Stiamo sognando il risotto agli asparagi qui. We are dreaming about the asparagus risotto. And thank you very much for your introduction, for telling your story and your idea of Friulano. We really enjoy to share this wine with you. Grazie mille per aver condiviso la tua storia con noi e per aver condiviso questa degustazione insieme a noi. È stato un piacere conoscerti.
Grazie per l'esperienza, grazie a voi tutti.
Grazie, buon lavoro. Ciao.
Grazie.
Well, Tonutti, here we are, Friulano, and this is the wine that we have just testing. Going on this trip, we are in the middle of our testing. We stay in Lombardy, but we are going to a border area of Lombardy, because we are in the border between Lombardy and Emilia-Romagna. This is the land of Lambrusco. We are in a flat part of the territory where the humidity is very high, and this is a challenge for a producer who works in a territory like this. But Lambrusco has this capacity to adapt himself in a space like this. This morning too we test a Lambrusco, and Lambrusco, we forget how beautiful is Lambrusco in the last 20 years in Italy. And now is the moment to start again to drink this wine, because it's a wine that it's a deep part of our wine culture. It was one of the most popular wine that we have in Italy. And in the last 20 years, the producer takes back this grape to the best situation that they can take from this grape. Of course, it's a grape that gives us easy wine, drinkable wine. We cannot expect a dark or deep or complex red wine from Lambrusco. It has a different character, but it's beautiful for this reason, of course. And the winery that we are going to test is called Gorzoni. We don't have any connection, non abbiamo nessun collegamento, vero, con Gorzoni? No. Okay. The company was founded in 2010. That it's in Italy. It's a young company because we used to have a company that have 100 years of generation of viticulture on their shoulder. Here we can find a fresh company, and they start to work with Lambrusco. The fact is that we call this grape Lambrusco, but we should call it Lambruscos, because we are talking about a big family of grape. In Italy, we have more than 60 different types of Lambrusco, and we used to mix every different variety inside the wine, but today there is a new discovery of every single variety of Lambrusco, and a lot of producers are working with just one type, one special type of Lambrusco. Traditionally, we drink sparkling Lambrusco. We call it frizzante because the traditional method to produce this wine was the fermentation half in the still and half inside the bottle. So the fermentation start inside the still, then the wine was bottled with some sugar, and the yeast continue the fermentation inside the bottle. So it wasn't a Charmat method, it wasn't a Champenoise method, it was a kind of mix of these two kind of method. Today, of course, most of producers works with Charmat method. So the fermentation inside the big tanks. But we have some beautiful example of Champenoise method too. Some rosé Champenoise method too come from just Lambrusco grape. And this is a new discovery that we have to enhance, to show how Lambrusco can work in different manner. And the wine that we are going to test is called Crepuscolo. Crepuscolo, it's a Lambrusco Salamino, so it's just one type of Lambrusco grape, a selection of Lambrusco grape, short contact on the skin to bring some colors, to bring some tannins, but not too much, because we want a rose wine inside the glass, and everything happens inside the still. So there's no oak, there's nothing, just still. And in the glass we see this beautiful pinky color, this beautiful bright color with this, we can see some small bubble inside. This is not exactly a sparkling wine. We can call it frizzante, that it's kind of different because the atmosphere inside the glass are lower than a sparkling method. So you don't have to expect the bubbles that you find in a sparkling wine, but expect a delicate bubbles inside. Push your nose inside the glass, please. This is the easy, sincere, immediate perfume of Lambrusco. The red berries explode inside the glass. The blueberry, particularly. Then arrive this floral part, a hint of violet, of wild rose. Some herbs, an idea of freshness given by the mint sensation. But, you know, it's an easy nose, and it's what we want from Lambrusco. We are not looking for an important complexity inside this glass. We want just fresh, immediate, and playful sensation. Have a sip. The CO2 inside the glass is just an idea that exalts the freshness part of the wine. It's like to eat a strawberry inside the mouth. It has the freshness of the strawberry, and in the end comes back this floral sensation and this beautiful part of mint and balsamic sensation. The sip is easy, exactly as the nose. But if I have to imagine a Tuesday night at home, just having a pizza and watching Netflix, this is the perfect wine, I think. So it's a wine that you can use for an easy night at home. It's perfect for an aperitif, for example, or it's perfect to share with a home dinner with family. It's a home wine, and I really like it for this reason, of course. And moving from Lombardy, drinking this beautiful rosé, we're moving to an island. So everything changed because Sardinia is one of the ancient territory of wine that we have in all the Mediterranean area. It means that here you can find the ancient wines in the world. Probably the first wine that were produced inside the Mediterranean area comes from Sardinia. This is a kind of new discovery. About 10 years ago, they discovered in an ancient site these seeds of grape, more ancient than the East Europe side. And we are in the south of the island, the province of Cagliari, and the winery is called Nuraghe Antigori. Nuraghe, it's a word that we have to connect with the roots of the story of this island, because the Nuraghe was where the ancient construction sensation that you can find on Sardinia. And the winery start its history in 1932, but the company was born just in 2015. And here in this territory, in the south of Sardinia, there is a kind of father of all the wines of this area of Sardinia, and it was Giacomo Takis, one of the most important enologists that we have in Italy, and one of the most important enology in Sardinia, because he gives a new life to the wines of the south of the island. 190 hectares. The winery is really big, but they have different plots in different area, and the name comes from the Nuraghe Antigori, that is the ancient rock, this ancient cave that is pretty near to the winery. And the grape that we are going to test is not the Cannonau, because when we talk about Sardinia, we immediately think about Cannonau grape. But there is another important red grape in this island, and this is Carignano. For a long time, Carignano were used like a shoulder of other grapes. So it was used to make blend, for example, blended wine. But Takis discovered the real potential of this red grape, bringing it inside Olimpo of the Sardinia grapes. It's a really ancient grape, probably come from Spain. It's a variety that we have in common with Spain. And it has this dark skin that in the glass show the dark color of the wine. Expect good tannins and high acidity, because those are the most important characteristic that this grape brings inside the glass. You can find Carignano just near the Mediterranean Sea. It is a kind of grape, exactly as Cannonau, exactly as Vermentino, that needs to smell the sea, that needs to smell the Mediterranean vegetation, and it's exactly what you will find inside the glass. Because Carignano in Italy, in French, called Carignan, in Spain, called Carignana, is the same grape, but everywhere it grows just looking at the Mediterranean Sea. So it has a deep connection with this climate and with this sensation of sea. The wine that we are going to test, it's 100% Carignano. The fermentation happened in stills, and the aging in still too. Carignano, it's a kind of grape that can work very good with barrique too, or big barrels, with wood in general. But in this case, the winery chose to produce this wine just in still to exalt the variety sensation. Look at the glass. Here we can find the typical color, this ruby bright color of Carignano grape. The nose, smell of Sardinia, can I say it? If you have been in this island where the Mediterranean arbust grows everywhere, this is exactly the perfume that you smell. There is this salty sensation, this sea breeze sensation. Rosemary and the wet earth, smell of rocks, of iron. The Sulcis area, the south of the Sardinia, is full of cave, and the Carignano brings in the glass this under hearth part. This fruitiness part, the plume, the fig, some cherries, and this balsamic sensation that brings us sitting in front of the sea, in front of the Mediterranean Sea. Have a sip. Dry, strong, bold, a lot of structure. The tannins are high, but they caress our mouth. They are strong, but they are not too dry in the mouth. Good freshness, this salty and that give us this crispy sensation in mouth, and this long end that brings us back the Mediterranean sensation. This is a perfect wine to be paired with the typical dishes of this area, like the lamb, like the pork, for example, the pork, the roasted pork, or why not, this is a beautiful wine to pair in with a big black Angus burger, something juicy, something bloody, and this wine will be perfectly clean our mouth. So it's a beautiful example of what Sardinia can offer more than Cannonau and Vermentino. We don't have just Cannonau and Vermentino in Sardinia. We have a lot of different grape, a lot of autochthonal grape, just like Carignano grape in this case. And from one island to the land, we come back in the north, visiting Piedmont. Autochthonous because they used to work with Carignano from 300 years, so they consider it autochthonous. But we can call it autochthonous from the Mediterranean area, I think. It's autochthonous of the sea, not just from the Sardinia or from Spain. Here, I think that the borders of Carignano are not national borders, are different. It's autochthonal of the Mediterranean area, I can say. Okay? Piedmont, Monferrato, one of our places that is inside the UNESCO World Heritage list for these beautiful hills covered of vine, of course. And we are in the middle of the Piedmont. Here, the soil is really special because it has two different origins. The north part of Piedmont comes from the alternation of ice, aged and warm period. So this ice, this water that was trapped inside ice, slowed down the rocks to the flat part of the area. But the south area of Piedmont comes from the sea. It's a land that emerged from the sea. So it's full it's a marine soil, of course. And the winery that we are going to meet is Castello di Uviglie. We have the producer here that I invite to tell us your story, your beautiful story.
Thank you very much. Hi everyone, my name is Francesca Bonzano and I'm the second generation of the Bonzano family that owns Castello di Uviglie since 2020. So we were already producing wine before, but let's say we upgraded our hospitality also with Castello di Uviglie. So 1491 is the name of the wine you're going to taste, and is 100% Albarossa, which is a very rare and difficult grape to grow. That's why probably we're just like around 12 producers to make it. So we focus a lot on Albarossa because we consider it native grape for us, like Grignolino and Barbera, and also because it's very particular. You'll taste it, and it has a huge aging potential. So what you taste now will be completely different in 10 years. We tasted one from 2004, so it was very, very different. You lose a little bit this kind of grass feeling you have when you taste it, and it becomes more round, more fruity, and so I'm very glad we can taste it together today. And yeah, another, just something I have to say, it aged in our quarries. We have 10,000 square meters of quarries of Pietra da Cantone, which is a white marne stone, and where all our wines rest. And also for the classic method, we have a huge production of classic method, and that's why it's kind of famous, the production as well.
Can you tell us something about the name?
So 1491 is the first year of vinification at Castello di Uviglie. 1 year before the US were discovered, America was discovered, in Italy we were already experimenting on wine, so that's pretty amazing, I would say. And we wanted to keep the date on one of our best wines from Castello di Uviglie to remember where everything started and when. So thank you. Thank you.
So I'm really happy to test Alba Rossa with you. I don't know how many of you, have you already tested Alba Rossa in your life? It's something new in our parure of wine because it's an old and new grape at the same time. And in the glass you can find this dark, beautiful ruby color, light but dark at the same time. The nose is an explosion that brings together the fruity part, this red fruit, the spicy sensation, the pepper, the clovers too, some cinnamon too. Then arrives this part that the oaks lives inside the wine, so some tobacco, chocolate, some coffee, why not? And then this beautiful floral part that remember me the violet in the first moment. That became a beautiful red rose when you move your glass. To close this nose, I want to add some earthy sensation. This smell like wood in autumn with this humid and earthy sensation at the same time. An idea of mushrooms too. Some dry leaves. A beautiful wine to test during the winter when outside is really cold, I think. Have a sip, see what happens. Okay, the same explosion that we perceive on the nose arrive clearly inside our mouth. Can you feel that you start to produce a lot of saliva? The tannins arrive, but the tannins is strong, but it's like the second part of this wine. The first thing that I wanna argument with you is this acidity, this high acidity. Francesca told us this is a wine that can be aged for a long time, and this acidity is the confirm that we can wait to drink a wine like this. The fruity, the salty part and the spicy part come back exploding inside the mouth. And in the end, this earthy and more dark part of the wine comes back during the long end that this wine show us. To pair a wine like this, I think you can play with different kind of meats, like red game, why not, with a strong plate of meats, or wild game too. How do you pair this wine, Francesca? Okay, barbecue meats. Oh. Good idea. Like a sloppy Joe or something like this should be perfect with a wine like this, with some juicy meats. Thank you very much, Francesca, to share your wine with you, to share this grape with us. It's not common to drink a wine from Alba Rossa. And we close our round trip around Italy in the center of Italy. We are in the heart of Italy, in the middle of Italy, because we are in the region of Marche. And we are in a really small territory. It's the area of Serra Petrona. This is an ancient area of production. We are not near the sea, we are inside the land. So here the climate is kind of, it's not warm. And the winters are really cold, and here you have to work like in the mountain. We are 500 meters above the sea levels. The Adriatic sea breeze slowly arrive inside the vineyard. And to talk about Robbione, we have Terre di Serra Petrona here that can introduce us this beautiful territory, this special territory, I think. Oh, no, non ti do da questo, do da questo.
Thank you. Hi everyone, I'm Carla, I'm the export manager of the winery, and Terre di Serra Petrona was established at the end of 90s, early 20s, and the goal, the aim of this cellar was produce still wines from Vernaccia Nera, which is our native black grape. And it was usually used to produce sparkling wines, which is today are used to produce the DOCG. So what the new management, which bought the company in 2016, which is Stefano Graidi, is trying to be, is to evaluate this grape, because we are only 7 producers, less than 100 hectares, so you can imagine how small is our area. Moreover, in our area, we need to plant the vineyard only in little plots where there is no woods or olive tree, because it is an area where farmers used to produce wines, and it was really food, like kind of food. Today, we've got Robbione. Robbione is our reserva and what express very well what we try to do. So we need to wait Vernaccia Nera. It's a very hard wine and vine to grow, and we need to wait both before the harvest, because we've got a late harvest. Look, it's not a tardy harvest. I mean, we need to wait, which is very ripe, and so we are working in these days in the field. And we make 2 kinds of harvest. The first one is the one we need to produce the appassimento, because inside this bottle we've got 50-60% of appassimento. The other part is, of course, produced by the second harvest, which is used to the base wine. The appassimento is 50-60% of the total amount according to the vintage. Of course, in more hot summers, we put a bit of less appassimento. And then we leave rested 3 years more or less in big barrels, and a small percentage in barriques, old French barriques that we use to make the blend. This is what I think represent very much our winery, and that's it.
Thank you. It's an occasion because the typical version of Vernaccia Nera, the grape of Serra Petrona, it's a sparkling or sweet wine. But the fact is that Vernaccia Nera has a lot in common. The DNA of Vernaccia Nera is pretty similar to Cannonau grape. So in Sardinia, actually, we find just another version, because you'll never find a Cannonau sparkling. And this idea of Serra Petrona, of Terre di Serra Petrona, to produce a dry, bold, strong red wine with Vernaccia, I think it's a beautiful idea, because show us what the DNA of this grape can represent. And on the nose, you find this beautiful. I like Vernaccia Nera because it's a kind of wild grape. it's a rebel, I think. The nose has this hint of green, this hint of vegetal sensation, a lot of herbs inside the glass. This iron sensation too, this is a stretch in common with Canonau, for example, this iron sensation. And then the fruit. And here arrives this dry part of the grape. The fruit is kind of sweet. This wine has two phases. The first phase that we meet is the wild phase. The other one is the smoothest phase. This idea of gem, of plume, for example. The blueberry. And some wood sensation, some harsh wood. This fumé that close the nose, really interesting. Have a sip. And the mouth is really coherent with the nose, because the mouth too has two faces. The first part of the mouth seems sweet. The fruit arrive in our mouth and it's like chewing a ripe plume. But then the other part of wines arrive, these tannins and the acidity and this wild sensation that close the mouth with these beautiful memories of herbs, of herbs, and this close with a fumé sensation. The wood comes back, but in the end of the sip. To pair a wine like this, I think this is a good wine to pair with mushrooms, for example. It's really hard to pair the mushrooms because they want to be the main character of the dish. So you have to find a wine that enter with structure, but without covering them. And the smoothness part of this wine, I think, is perfect. So a risotto with funghi porcini, for example, should be a good pairing. Or why not, like some meat, but we need a strong meat, not just red meat. For example, a stuffed Turkish. So with some herbs, with some spicy. We need a plate with a lot of savor, a savory plate to exalt the sensation of both. Robbione, I think it's a beautiful example about the potential of Vernaccia. Vernaccia is not a grape just to do sweet wine or sparkling wine, but we can start to imagine a Vernaccia for beautiful, bold red wine. So thank you very much to give us this opportunity to discover the other face of Vernaccia. Well, our journey is finished. We close our trip in the middle of Italy, in the Marche region. I say hi to London, and if you have some questions, we are here for you. Ciao. It was a pleasure to share this tasting with you, and have a good day. Thank you very much for the attention.